It's time for the Chicago Real Estate Beat here on 1340 WJOL. Here's Ken Houbolt from Houbolt Real Estate, Ray Graylick of Graylick Insurance, Timmy Yanahan, the mortgage man of Caliber Home Loans, Kevin Barry from the Barry Law Group. This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Hey, welcome back to another edition of Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chicago Title. Let's say hello to the crew today. We got Ray Graylick from Graylick Insurance.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Timmy Yanahan from Caliber Home Loans.
Hello, everyone.
Kevin Barry from Barry Law.
Good afternoon, listeners.
And I'm Ken Houbolt with Houbolt Real Estate. Today's show, we've got two great guests coming on. First, we got Timmy's boss, Kerry Pastore for Caliber Home Loans.
The principal's in the room.
I'm on my best behavior.
Well, it's about time after all these shows that we've done that you're on your best behavior. And then on the last segment, we're going to have Steve Radis, who is the business development manager from the Village of Oak Lawn, and we're going to talk a little bit about doing business with municipalities and whatnot there too. So that's what we got to look forward to. So we got a great show. Kev, what do you got going on?
Well, one thing I want to talk to today about was something that most home buyers probably don't even think about when they're looking to purchase a home or enter into a contract, and that is title insurance. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before and may not even know what it means. Title insurance is a policy of insurance that would defend a home buyer against potential defects on the property. For example, you purchase a home and if there's no title insurance, and a surprise lien pops up, or you get notice from the county for...
Where would a lien come from, Kev?
Well, lien can come from a few different places. It can come from, for example, what they call a mechanics lien, where someone had done some home improvement work on a property and was not paid in full. They have the right to file a lien against the property for their services rendered, which means the home buyer would be stuck with that. Another type of lien would be simple, like a mortgage. Typically, a bank mortgage is taken care of because their interest is recorded against the property. But I've had situations in my practice where a private lien or mortgage was not recorded. You borrow money from a family member and they sign a promissory note. It's never recorded against the property, but now they want to collect. That could also come up against the property. Title insurance and title policies are really two-part. The first thing a title company does for you is they do research on the land regarding going to the county assessor's office, a recorder's office, and they generate a written report called a title commitment. That's going to spell out everything that's recorded against the property, the status of taxes, any other type of matters of title. The second part is upon closing, they actually issue a policy of title insurance for your benefit. That title insurance is good for the life of the entire time you own the property. Now, a couple things you want to look for when you have title insurance is, number one, you want to make sure in your real estate contract that there is a provision that the seller is going to pay for a portion of the title company, and that's called an owner's policy. Typically that is done, but you want to make sure that it is reviewed prior to execution. Another thing, too, is you shop around. There are several title companies in this area, in the Tri-County area, and they're not all the same. Some charge differently for their rates, so you want to make sure that you shop around, get prices for that. If you are borrowing money, all banks will require that you, as a home buyer, purchase a lender's policy of insurance. That is something you want to talk to your bank about as far as what they would charge, or if they have a preference of title company. And probably lastly, there are unfortunately numerous add-ons that title companies will charge, and they kind of nickel and dime you. You can get things like a wire fee. They'll charge you a wire fee possibly. My favorite one is they charge an email package fee. A lender will send out their package to them via email. Title company will charge to print out that email. So you can see there's a bunch of aspects of title company that you want to investigate either prior to contract and definitely prior to closing.
Just to follow up on it too, so if you're doing a cash deal, you don't need a program, you don't need a title policy if you're paying cash for the property on that buyer side.
Well, you still want a title policy. However, we want the owner's title policy of insurance, and that's typically paid for the seller. That's what I mentioned. You want to check the contract. I know, for example, probably the largest company that we deal in the area is Chicago Title. Great company, reputable. Quick funny story about that. After the Great Fire, 1871, all the land records burned in the fire except for Chicago's title. So they were the only ones that had land records post Chicago fire.
What did they do?
Well, they kept them actually kept them in a secure place in a sub basement. So that's why the records didn't get burned. Then after that, for 100 years, they were selling their land records to all the other title companies. So they are probably the largest in the area. I deal specifically with Joe Logan at Chicago Title.
Great guy.
If anyone wants to contact him, he's located at his way to get a hold of him is 312-375-0254. Again, great company.
Yeah, and just to piggyback, Joey Logan helped me on a refi yesterday. Closed at the customer's place of employment. There was a quick claim deed that was needed, so the closer actually went to the husband's place where he was located. They do a bang-up job for Caliber Home Loans and our team. So a big shout-out to Joe Logan and Chicago Title. What's on board with Caliber these days is I want to reach out. I had a couple situations in the past week where customers were doing some things that they probably shouldn't in the process of a loan. And so I usually send out a flyer, which it's easily titled Do's and Don'ts. And some of the things you should do is, keep your records. Usually if you're going into the market for the last 3 to 4 months, you may not need it all, but it's always good to have it on hand. Keep a copy of your earnest money deposit. That's important. Some of the don'ts. Don't open up a new account. Don't start adding two.
Can't go buy a car before closing?
Well, no. Some people try that.
It look good when I look in a new neighborhood, Timbo.
Actually, I had a customer that just opened 2 new accounts last week, and it was, a little bit of a paper trail snafu at the end. We got it all taken care of for him, and we closed on time. But the problem with that was it made him run through a bunch of hoops. So these are very preventive issues. You always want to notify your loan consultant on anything that you do financially while you're going through the process or while you're entering into a process. That's my best tip of the day. Make sure you're doing those things. If there's a change of a job, don't let us figure it out. Let your loan officer know those things, because there's ways of addressing issues to make them not a problem. And those are some of the things that I want to share with our listeners.
We preach all the time, Timmy. Constant communication. It's got to be there.
It's got to be there, guys. So that's it. Everything's been good. Apps are still coming in. The market's opening up pretty well right now, guys.
Generally, are the rates going up, down? Where were you at on those?
You know what? Typically, it's still volatile, but we're still down. It depends on the customer, obviously, and their situation. But,
sure.
They're very competitive. Caliber as a lender is very competitive. So it's what the customer typically qualifies for. We're still hovering in the 4s.
Okay.
Some people are qualifying in lower than that, but right in that range.
Still great rates.
For qualified applicants.
Good.
Sure.
Ray, what do you got, man?
Well, hey, guys, I want to talk about 2 things. We're in these dog days of summer. We're in these last few weeks of August, and what a lot of families are doing is
back
they're
to school for the kids.
Yeah, they're taking college students back to school, and I'm going to take my daughter this weekend. I know Kevin's taking his kids, 2 of them back, and Kenny's daughters are away. And here's the calls we get this time of the month. Hey, my son's going to be dorming in a college university, and do I have to buy any insurance for them? And the question is, the answer is, I should say, as long as your student is under the age of 26 and principally lives in your residence, there should be, you want to check with your insurance policy because they do vary, but there should be some extension of protection to their college dorm in either, and it's usually a percentage, it could be 2, 5, or 10% of coverage C on your homeowner's policy, which is the personal property protection limit on your coverage. So let's, for easy math, you have $100,000 in personal property coverage on your homeowner's policy, and you have a 5% extension to kids away in a dorm situation. You'd have $5,000 in coverage. Is that enough? You might want to determine that ahead of time. Things that you're going to worry about are electronics, laptops, printers, TVs, refrigerators, clothing. Now, on the other side of the coin,
the beer that's in that cooler, is that covered too?
Maybe, if you can find it. But no, what really happens a lot of times, people, is that they're going to call and they're going to be worried about it. Now, on the flip side, if your student's going to be living in an apartment situation, it's a totally different animal. Generally speaking, a landlord would require most likely renter's insurance policy. And the HO4 policy would have to probably name the landlord as an additional insured. A little bit of advice out there, everybody. If your son or daughter is rooming with several, like say a 2-3 person situation, if their name is on that lease, they should be named on that insurance policy regardless. Now you're talking the personal property coverage would be what you want. Everybody decides what they've brought, what's it worth. Now you also have a little difference in the extension of liability. Landlord's going to certainly say, hey, if something happens here, you're hosting something, a party, which happens often, college apartments. Yeah, sometimes, right? In between studying, right?
Not my kids.
Somebody gets hurt, they're going to sue. And you need that protection. It's important. I would imagine that most landlords are not going to allow you to rent that apartment without that renter's insurance.
Good point, Ray. Let us know. Also explain how that would affect your auto policy if your kid does not have one of your cars at school.
Yeah, Kevin, we just talked about this. If your student's away at school without the vehicle, obviously you just can't just turn them on and off of an insurance policy, but you can rate them away at school without the vehicle. Now, I'm going to tell you people out there, you need to remind yourself that I got to call my insurance person because they may not know this situation exists. Some kids are, as long as usually it's 100 miles away. They don't have that vehicle, they can be rated away. It saves you significant dollars on your insurance.
I can personally attest to that. I dropped 2 kids off at college last week. First thing I did after wiping my wife's tears away was call Ray. And I got about a $60 a month savings on my insurance. So,
awesome.
Ray,
That's
Ray,
awesome.
Thank you.
Hey.
So Kev's buying lunch today.
There you go. Hey, guys, I just want to talk one other thing. It's something that I think a lot of insurance companies are offering. Many do not. It's relatively new to our industry, and it's called service line coverage. And what many people may not know, that the repair or replacement of service lines on their properties, such as, like, say, underground wiring and piping, is their responsibility and not the service providers. So damage to these lines often occur unexpectedly, and expenses aren't always covered under your basic homeowner's policy. Now, we represent many insurance carriers that include this coverage. Others will endorse it for a small fee, but the average expenses are $3,000 to $4,000, but they can go much higher. So you might say, well, what's covered? What is this all about? And what you want to make sure you understand is that telephone cable lines, steam piping, drainage, public sewer lines, private septic tanks, fuel lines, waste disposal lines, power lines, and public water pipes are all susceptible to either ground freeze, corrosion, landscaping mishaps, rodents, lightning strikes, or root invasion. So you might want to consider taking a look at your current insurance policy, because if you do have it, that's great. If you don't, I got some frequently asked questions that people will come to us and say, hey, one of them is does the cover service line need to be on my property? And yes, it does. They ask if they can replace service line materials with more environmentally friendly materials. Yes. Is there a deductible? Yes. And if I'm doing the digging myself and damage the line, is it covered? And I'll say yes to that. So just a little information there for everybody, and there you have it.
It's good stuff, Ray. I just want to talk about last week. We got a couple calls after the show, and they want to know how to get a hold of particular people on the show, whether it's Kevin from Berry Law, Caliber Home Loans, Great Lake Insurance, or Houbolt Real Estate, or any other of our members as CREN. What we do is we send forward everybody to the website www.cren.biz, which is the Chicagoland Real Estate Network. That is our websites, which will forward you our contact information. So if you're looking to get a hold of any of us, www.cren.biz, and we're going to take a break right now. Thanks to Chicago Title for sponsoring that segment. You're listening to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre & Associates on WJOL, Will County's news, talk, and sports. We'll be right back with Carrie Pastore from Caliber Home Loans.
Houbolt Real Estate is your full-service real estate brokerage firm. Whether you are buying or selling residential or commercial, Houbolt Real Estate can help you obtain your goals. With over 25 years of local expertise, Houbolt Real Estate has the knowledge and expertise to deliver your desired results. Our team has been exceeding the goals of families and companies since 1991. Call today to put the Houbolt Real Estate team to work for you. Call 708-220-7613 or check out HouboltRE.com. Houbolt Real Estate will exceed your expectations.
Graylick Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency representing several companies in auto, home, commercial, and workers' comp insurance. The cornerstone of our agency is our ability to tailor-make policies and provide insurance choices with top-rated insurance companies. The Graylick Insurance Agency is your one-stop resource for all of your insurance needs. We put you first and work within your budget. Contact us today at 773-284-7650. GraylickAgency.com.
Official rules for 1340 WJOL. No purchases necessary. All contestants must be 18 years of age or older to participate, unless specified in contest rules. An individual may win an ongoing contest every 30 days per household from WJOL in Crest Hill. All state, local, and federal and other taxes or other fees for prizes awarded are the sole responsibility of the winner. Prizes valued over $500 will be issued an IRS Form 1099 to report their winnings. All prizes are awarded as is. All entrants and winners agree that the station, Alpha Media LLC, and their affiliates shall have no liability and should be held blameless for any injury, misfortune, or damage to either persons or property insured by entering, participating in, winning, or losing any contest by use or non-use of any prize received. All entrants and winners agree the station may broadcast or publish their name, city of residence, photo, videotape, film, or any other likeness, including their voice, recorded or live, for any reason the station deems necessary, without compensation. The radio station reserves the right to change the rules for any contest at any time without notice, and limit the amount of times an individual may enter a contest or drawing. The radio station will not be held responsible for busy lines, bad connections, disconnections, computer malfunctions, lost, late, or misdirected email, faxes, or any other circumstances. Get a full list of contest rules at WJOL.com.
Caliber Home Loans Incorporated, NMLS 15622, is an equal housing lender and an Illinois residential mortgage license number MB0004043, 1431 Opus Place, Suite 135, Downers Grove, Illinois 60515. Not all customers will qualify. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Welcome to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. This segment is brought to our friends at Caliber Home Loans. Along with Ray Graylick, Timmy Yanahan, and Kevin Berry, I'm Ken Houbolt, and we're proud to welcome to the show a good friend of all of ours who we've been doing business with for many years, Carrie Pastori, who is the area manager for Caliber Home Loans. Hey, Carrie, how are you?
Hey, Ken, good. How are you guys?
Good.
What's happening?
Take care.
Hey, let's start off. Why don't you start off by telling the listeners a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, and a little bit about your team and the areas you cover and whatnot.
Sure. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for having me on today. I've basically been doing this all my career. I came out of college. I was an accounting major, and someone asked me if I wanted to be a loan officer, and had no clue what a loan officer was, and this is back in 1984. Started in that business, so now doing it for 33 years. It's been a fantastic business, helping home ownership and people getting in homes, and starting their dreams and with their families. I am, as you said, the area manager for Caliber Home Loans. Always been in retail, always been in this business, and always have hired and managed great people that work with us, and obviously my team or our team. What else you want to know? I'm a local guy from the area.
Naperville Ben, aren't you? Naperville.
Exactly. I'm creeping into your territory.
So, Care, what sets Caliber Homes apart from the rest of them? I mean, I've worked for several mortgage companies in my career, 29 years, and tell our listeners what Caliber. I know what it is, but I appreciate that, Tim. And you know what? I've worked on. I see kind of a three-prong approach. There's three types of mortgage lenders out in the marketplace. You have your big bank, and everybody's familiar with that. You see them on every corner, good, bad, or ugly. They are there, and they help people every day with home ownership. They have your mortgage banker. The mortgage banker, they have their own funds, and they give mortgages to consumers. And we are a mortgage banker, and at the same time, we're a servicer. And that's where I feel our niche is, and that's one of the things that my team and I absolutely appreciate, because we are a direct lender, so we directly sell to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and Ginnie Mae, which means we're not selling it to other lenders or other banks or other as large mortgage companies as Caliber Home Loans, and then worrying about their overlays or their criteria. And that's usually when people get a little frustrated, or realtors even come back to their lender and say, well, hey, how come I didn't know about this 2 weeks ago, and now we're adding two more
conditions to our loan. So one of the things that Caliber has, like I said, is not only a direct lender, but the culture from anywhere from the receptionist all the way to an underwriter or closer. Everybody at this company impresses me every day working here that they're worried and making sure that we close loans on time and make sure we have a great experience for the customer and all people included, which would be the realtor brokers and the attorneys.
Good. Kerry, how you doing? This is Kevin Barry from Barry Law. How are things?
Good. Thank you.
First, I'd like to give you a pat on the back and a shout out. I personally have used Caliber Home for the purchase of my last home, and it could not have gone any easier, streamlined. So thank you for the great experience during that loan process. One thing that caught my ear that you mentioned was in-house processing and direct lending. In my practice, those are great phrases. I deal with all types of lenders, as you mentioned, and it's typically a much smoother transaction when you keep everything in-house. It's one-stop shopping. I'm not dealing with different departments. I'm dealing with the same people. It seems like communication is better. It seems like there's a faster response time. Can you tell me again, maybe explain in-house processing and tell me how that's important?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a fantastic question. One of the things that myself, my team, were looking for, obviously, when we came over to Caliber a couple of years ago, was that we can go ahead and not only organically grow, but also hire the top talent that's in our marketplace for not only the origination piece of it, but also the processing and underwriting and closing piece. So all that is locally here. We have a fulfillment center here in Downers Grove, and we feel that the important piece of that is the communications. We know the market. We understand what different property types are, whether they're rear-to-lot properties or lot line properties, 2 flats to 4 flats, because we've all dealt with different lenders, I'm sure, back in our career, especially if you've been doing this more than 20 years, where you start talking about a 2 flat or 3 flat, and the lender has no clue what that is, or your underwriter doesn't. Here they do. As simple as that, or trusts. It makes the transaction go fairly smooth, which is really good. And Caliber is now taking a leap into the near future here, of what I see us as, being not a pioneer. We're really taking the technology piece to another step. We're doing not only everything paperless as we process files, but we also are now verifying employment digitally and assets digitally, along with worked out a better contract, let's call it, with one of our investors, meaning Fannie or Freddie, to where we also can get waivers on appraisals if the consumer is strong and the market information in that product around the property are strong. So all that means to a customer, an attorney, and a realtor, we will have closing much faster and smoother to the table to get the home buyer into their new home.
All right, Kerry, I have a comment, not so much a question, it's more of a comment for our listeners, is that he mentioned about servicing. When I do my closings, I get a lot of people who they call me back and say my loan is sold, and they're very upset as if that's a slap in the face. So, again, Caliber is a servicer, which most likely means you're going to be with them, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. And one thing I'd like to add, Kerr, is this. Our ops department, operations manager, Steve Piscitello, and his team, our team of processors that he oversees, and our PAs, for that matter, the best I've been with in the business. And I could say that hands down. If issues come up in a transaction, it happens, folks. But our team is so dedicated with making the customer's situation a very good experience that they do everything they can to accommodate, and that's from the top down to the bottom. So I just want to give a shout out. Ray, what do we got for him?
Well, hey, Kerry, once again, welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. I, too, have the opportunity recently to use Caliber Home Loans on an out-of-state purchase, and boy, we had a really nice, good time with that. I mean, it was great, especially when you're dealing with a purchase out of state. And on our show, Timmy often talks about how Caliber Home Loans has a state-of-the-art system. Can you a little bit, for our listeners, elaborate on what is the digital process?
Yeah, absolutely. So realistically, nowadays, I mean, the old way was you sat in front of a customer, you took a application, it took every bit of 2 to 3 hours to get all your information, write everything up, bring it in, decipher it, structure it, and then get it into the processing pool. Now, obviously, by consumer demand, more so than even us pushing the technology, consumers really want to do it at the luxury of their own relaxation or time frame, or maybe with their significant other, or however they want to do it. And now they can on our website. They can go and apply, and then once they apply, the originator is notified that someone is first starting the application, and then once it's completed, it tells them that it's completed. So everything is truly digital. It's tracking. Once that's done, the customer can upload their documents. We tell them what they need. The documents are uploaded. We then can go ahead and, this is the awesome part, we were taking the control of approving, running their credit, running digital verification for employment and asset. Now the consumer can do that on the website.
So they can see exactly what's going on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and they could choose to do so or not do it. So it's up to them. But if they truly can get a full approval, everything verified by applying to our website.
Kerry, this is important if you're an originator to have a fast and smooth closing. And speaking about importance for an origination, what's important for a loan officer in your business right now?
Well, I interview a lot of loan officers. I've trained a lot of loan officers over the course of 33 years. And the biggest common denominator I've ever heard from a loan officer is they want a fantastic back shop, which Timmy shouted out to Steve and his group. They're unbelievable. The processing team here is probably one of the best I've ever worked with. The second piece is, you always hear originators saying, well, I want to process my own deal. And a lot of that came from, I think, back in the last 10 years, costs keep going up. So a lot of the processing gets pushed into the originator, and the originator is going to go ahead and, track down docs or whichever they're doing. We're still a little bit old school like that. The processor takes that on. They do talk with our consumer. If the originator wants to be involved, of course they can. But the most important piece to the originator we want them doing is radio show like Timmy's doing right now. No, we want them to go out and do
this is my side job.
Sales with our realtor partners, and out there developing good, strong relationships. Continue to bring the Caliber name out into our marketplace.
Thanks, Kerry. That's great. You mentioned a lot of great features of Caliber Home Loans, and from in-house processing and servicing, and as well as that digital process, which is really good. Customers I know love to be kept informed as to the status of what their loan is. Besides giving Timmy the pink slip pretty soon, what else can you tell us is important to, what else is important to your customers and loan officers?
Yeah, company culture is huge. I think you got to like where you work. And I would say everyone that I've met with Caliber, and granted, we're in 50 states. It's a large organization. We have, roughly 6,500 employees. And everybody here treats each other not only with respect, but almost as a customer themselves. We have an issue. We want to get a customer escalated or get an exception on some. It's all hands on. Everybody goes ahead and participates, and for me that's pretty unique. Last time I saw that, I had my own company, and we were obviously delivering products to different companies, and we saw that because we were a customer. So even though we work for a larger organization, we are treated like a customer. We're treated like an employee. We're not a number, and we get to run it, the least in the marketplace. We run it correctly, but we run our own local market, and Caliber allows us to do that, which I think is very important to a originator to grow their own book of business.
Kerry, that's great. We're just about out of time. We want to thank you for coming on. As always, we appreciate your help. I want to give you a shout-out, too, that one of the things that we always talk about when we're at closing is, has it funded yet? And one of the things that Caliber Home Loans always does is the funds are there before we walk in the door. So that makes the transaction goes a lot smoother. So, hey, thanks for everything you do. Thanks for letting us borrow Timmy every now and then to come on the show with us. We thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Kerry.
Thanks, Kerry. Thank you all, and I very, very much appreciate being a guest today.
Thanks, bud. You too.
See you soon, pal.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We do we do a lot of business with Caliber, and we're appreciative of everything that Kerry does in your entire team in it too. So we couldn't ask to make it easier on there too. So we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, Steve Radish from the Village of Oak Lawn will be joining us, talking a little bit about business in Oak Lawn and how maybe if you're a business and you want to do business out there too. So thanks to Caliber Homes for sponsoring that segment. You're listening to the Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates on WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, and Sports. We'll be right back. Time is 12:44.
Graylick Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency representing several companies in auto, home, commercial, and workers' comp insurance. The cornerstone of our agency is our ability to tailor-make policies and provide insurance choices with top-rated insurance companies. The Graylick Insurance Agency is your one-stop resource for all of your insurance needs. We put you first and work within your budget. Contact us today at 773-284-7650. GraylickAgency.com.
Houbolt Real Estate is your full-service real estate brokerage firm. Whether you are buying or selling residential or commercial, Houbolt Real Estate can help you obtain your goals. With over 25 years of local expertise, Houbolt Real Estate has the knowledge and expertise to deliver your desired results. Our team has been exceeding the goals of families and companies since 1991. Call today to put the Houbolt Real Estate team to work for you. Call 708-220-7613 or check out HouboltRE.com. Houbolt Real Estate will exceed your expectations.
I'm Carol McGowan with 1340 WJOL's Community Calendar. Gallery 7 and the University of St. Francis Gallery in Joliet will host a reception for artists that's free and open to the public Friday, August 25th. Gallery 7 at 116 North Chicago Street. The University of St. Francis Gallery is at 25 East Van Buren. From 6 to 8 p.m., they are hosting receptions for artists which are free and open to the public. For more information, visit gallery7.net. And the Elwood Community Days Car Show takes place Saturday, August 26th at Children's Garden in Elwood from noon to 4 p.m. $10 entry fee includes a hot dog, chips, and a drink. The first 50 cars receive a goodie bag. All cars and bikes are welcome. For more information, call Joe at 815-791-6167. That's the Community Calendar for 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Welcome back to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. Check them out on the web at plainfieldcpa.com. This segment is brought to you by Chicagoland Real Estate Network, along with Ray Graylick, Timmy Yanahan, Kevin Berry. I'm Ken Houbolt. And during this segment, we're happy to have a guest on here from the Village of Oak Lawn, the Business Development Manager, Steve Radish. How are you, Steve?
Good, Ken. Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on today.
Good. If you want to start out by telling the listeners and the crew here a little bit about your background as the Business Development Manager of Oak Lawn and some of your duties and what you do there on a daily basis.
Sure, Ken. Sure. I've been the Director of Economic Development now for a little over 4 years. And, the main focus, obviously, for anyone working in this role with any municipality is to, bring in new businesses and try and fill any vacant storefronts you have, which is great and very important, obviously. But also, Ken, you can't forget about supporting all local businesses that you currently have in your town and in Oak Lawn. We've got nearly over 800 local businesses here that, you try to work with them and communicate with them to see what we can do to help them succeed, to help them get the word out, and hopefully increase sales and keep them as a vibrant business. We recently, Trustee Bud Stalker is in the process of building a team, a new commission called the Oak Lawn Business Development and Support Commission, and there'll be 2 individuals from each district, which will be 12 commissioners on this board. And we're going to meet once a month and talk about what we can do, work together, for the businesses to help, bring in new business and support all our local businesses.
Hey, Steve, Ray Graylick here. Welcome again to the show. Appreciate having you on. I am a resident of the Village of Oak Lawn, so, I really understand the importance of the work that you do. I respect what you do. And, I think that people need to understand that, when you have a job like this, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, and the village of Oak Lawn is a pretty big community. I mean, geographically, it's a big town. And I'd like you to please describe for us the demographics and the business makeup of the village of Oak Lawn.
Like I said earlier, we've got over 800 local businesses in Oak Lawn. And obviously, everyone looks for the mom and pops and the national firms, which are great and important. They pay good rent and they're good, sturdy businesses.
Good taxes too, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, the sales tax revenue pays the bills. It keeps our police on the street, our fire department, public works. That's what we live and die by. But what's really important, Ray, in Oak Lawn, as you probably know, is that the smaller businesses, the local residents or local entrepreneurs, the mom and pops. I can't tell you the amount of businesses that are, whether it's fitness centers, travel agencies, hair salons, that are run and owned and operated by local residents and local business people. And that is what keeps a town vibrant, because you're only going to get so many of these big box stores. And obviously we all know what's happened recently with, how Amazon has affected the brick and mortar, some of these commercial buildings. We've got a Sports Authority pulled out a couple of years ago. They went out of business, and, they left I think it's 70,000 square foot space here in Oak Lawn at 96 Cicero.
Don't forget to call Houbolt Real Estate if you're interested in it.
There we go.
Exactly. I was just going to say that, Ken.
Thanks, Steve. I know you.
But it's changed the makeup of the brick and mortar. So it's scary, and it makes our job more challenging. But we'll get through it, I hope.
Steve, I do insure plenty of businesses in the village of Oak Lawn, and I can tell you when I talk to these business owners, they always constantly comment on what a friendly business climate there is in the village of Oak Lawn. And I think a lot of that is, for me to tip my hat off to you, because that's what you do. So, nice work there, Steve.
Well, thanks, Ray. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Hey, Steve. Thanks again for coming on the show. Timmy Yanahan here. And why don't you tell our listeners, as business development manager, what do you look for in a new business coming to Oak Lawn?
We talk to the business. I get calls several times a week about individuals looking for space in Oak Lawn. So we first try to find what they're looking for, what the budget is, and try to see if we can give them some options for spaces and locations for business that are going to fit their budget. Because I can't tell you how many times we've had businesses come in and jump in over their head, where their rent and taxes, everything it's cost prohibitive, and before you know it, they're struggling. So I try to work with them. I talk to them, one-on-one, what they're looking to do, what their growth plans are, amount of employees and so forth, and then just try to see if we could find them a location that's suitable for their needs and might even allow for growth in the future.
Steve, it's also important too, and I know you've done this in the past with other businesses that we've talked about too, is when people want to come in to make sure that the zoning is appropriate for their businesses in the development, and you also help out with that as well, correct?
Absolutely, Ken. Anyone can call me, anytime if they've got any questions about that, and I can help them with the zoning, or if they're looking to either, open up a new business or relocate the current business, we'd love to talk with them here in Oak Lawn. They could reach me directly here at the village at 708-499-7068. They could feel free to call anytime.
Hey, Steve, how are you doing? It's Kevin Berry here.
Hi, Kevin.
Also, I am a resident of Oak Lawn, so I want to give a shout-out to you and thank you for all the work you do.
You're welcome.
I drive by 111th Cicero several times a day, and I see there's an awesome development going on there. I know some businesses are thriving, such as Cooper's Hawk Restaurant and Mariano's, among other businesses, and that's only Phase 1. Can you tell me how Phase 1's going?
Sure, Kevin. Phase 1, as you know, has been in place now here for a couple of years, anchored by Mariano's, which is doing fantastic. It's been ranking consistently in the top 5% of all their stores nationwide. So
that's great.
Oak Lawn is knocking it out of the park. Cooper's Hawk obviously is killing it. Sometimes a 2-hour wait to get in there, but of all the Cooper's Hawks nationwide, Oak Lawn is number 1 by far. Number 2 isn't even close.
Wow.
And Massage Envy, at one point earlier in the year, out of 1,200 massage envies nationwide, Oak Lawn was ranked number 2 in the nation as far as the fastest growing clinic for as far as their membership base and members to their Massage Envy, what they offer there. We also have Meatheads, Chipotle, Starbucks, Sleepy's, Firehouse Sub, and then on Stony Creek Promenade North, we've got the original Pancake House run by a local family, the Harrigans, in Beverly, and then Nothing But Cakes, so another local business owner. So between all those businesses, I think we're just over 700 jobs were created just in Stony Creek Promenade and Stony Creek Promenade North.
Wow, Steve, that's great and amazing. Knowing you in the village, I know you're not done, though, are you? There's a phase 2 in the works, right?
We're not done. No,
what's going on with that?
Phase 2, just to the west of phase 1, and I get asked that all the time, Kevin. It's you would think with the success of phase 1 that phase 2 would have been a no-brainer, but actually it's been a lot more challenging for the developer, Hamilton Partners, and the village. We are working with several tenants right now that we're very, very close to signing leases with, so we should be able to come out with something here in the next 30 days, which will be a big feather in our cap to get these businesses there. But it's been a struggle, and I think, again, a lot of it has to do with the brick and mortar and some of the things happening with other avenues, such as the Amazon, like we talked about earlier. But I'm confident that we're going to get there. We've got about 13 acres available in phase 2, and it should be a huge success, and we're hoping it's just as successful or more than phase 1.
Steve, you've been talking a little bit about, a couple times you referenced Amazon, too. We often talk about, and especially on the commercial real estate side, we talk about what Uber's doing to businesses as well, too. There's a lot of car dealerships in Oak Lawn. Has there been any talk? I know you deal with Mr. Mancari and all the other great car store owners over there, too. Has there been any talk about how Uber's affecting their business?
Honestly, Ken, I have not heard that at all. I'm not. It's a good question, and I talk to the dealers, most of them on a weekly basis. That's a great question, and I really don't know how that's affected them. But I wish I had more to share with you on that. But I just it's something I've never spoken with them about. But when you mention the dealers, Ken, Oak Lawn is blessed. We've got 11 new car dealers with 15 different brands in Oak Lawn. So how many suburbs can you go to and you can choose from that many brands and new dealers, thousands and thousands of new and used vehicles, all within maybe a mile or a mile and a half radius of each other. So we're blessed to be able to offer that. There's only a couple other municipalities I can think of that have what Oak Lawn has.
Steve, that's some great insight there, too. We thank you for being with us, too. We're almost out of time, so as always, we appreciate it. Steve, why don't you give out your phone number one more time if you're looking to do business in the village of Oak Lawn? Your number is?
Sure, Ken. It's 708-499-7068. And Ken, Ray, Tim, Kevin, I appreciate you guys having me on the show today.
Steve, keep up the great work, buddy.
Good luck in phase 2.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So there you have it. So if you're a business looking to do, come to Oak Lawn and do something, that's a great spot to do it.
Hey, I wanted to shift gears real quick. We didn't get to cover this, but how's the residential, homes in that area, Kenny?
Definitely. It's similar to other areas that are experiencing a shortage of homes available for sale. This has allowed the condo and townhome market to really come roaring back. We've done a couple deals on this, Tim, and you've seen it. The last 15 months, you've seen condos that almost have tripled in their price on there too. Again, because there's no houses available, so it allows the prices to increase dramatically. Well, that's just about to do it. We're just about out of time. For Kevin Berry of Berry Law, Ray Graylick Insurance, Timmy Yanahan from Caliber Home Loans. We'd like to thank our guest, Steve Radis from. And we have guests this week.
We do, huh?
It's not like last week. So Steve Radis from the Village of Oak Lawn, and of course our good buddy Carrie Pastori from Caliber Home Loans. You've been listening to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. I'd like to thank all our sponsors, including DeAndre and Associates, Caliber Home Loans,
Chicago Title,
and everybody else too. So that's it for now for all of us. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.